Today on Dr. Phil.
I am a violent person.
According to her, you have put a pillow over her face.
I pushed it on her face. I wasn't trying to suffocate her.
Scared to leave her violent boyfriend.
You said, I'm afraid he will get so mad he is going to kill me.
Yes.
Not only have you put yourself in a very dangerous situation, but you have put your son in danger.
I'm not this crazy stalker that you're making me seem like.
I'm just asking you questions.
Ask me the questions the way that they're worded, and I'll fill in the blanks.
Listen, I don't need you telling me how to do an interview.
Plus,
Two women who say leaving their abusive boyfriends left them both fighting for their lives.
a video that will leave you speechless.
I felt the gasoline hit my face.
Bridget is in the green room right now. She is here because she says her boyfriend, James, is highly abusive. She's scared of him. And we want her to understand that this is the one place that today she knows she is 100% safe, because it's time to deal with the truth. So here we go. It's important to me that you know that today you're 100% safe.
Listen, I can feel you shaking as I touch you, and I want you to know this is your chance out there to tell the truth, to step up, speak your mind, don't hesitate. You're going to be safe. Philip's going to keep you safe. He cannot hurt you out there. Today is the day. Tell him how you feel. Okay?
Fair enough?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you out there.
Right.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Thank you
Trust
so
us.
much. I do. Okay. Thank you.
Sadly, the situation Bridget finds herself in is not uncommon. In fact, by the time this show ends, nearly 100 women will report being victims of violence by their intimate partners. And shockingly, that number does not even include the women who do not report the abuse. What's even worse is that the violence often escalates to a tragic and horrific end.
He bum rushed me with a butcher knife. He struck me in the head with a hammer 4 times, and then he threw gasoline at me.
Christopher Haney doused his wife, Audrey Mabry, with flammable liquid and then lit her on fire.
My sister's boyfriend murdered her. The abuse was verbal and then push and then a shove. It progressively got worse and worse.
Police say 38-year-old Eric Vogel was determined to get inside Catherine Volker's motel room. Once inside, investigators say he stabbed the 26-year-old mother to death in front of her 2 small children.
Fighting for her life, a woman tries to get away from the father of her child minutes before he sets her on fire.
Well, amazingly, the woman who was set on fire by her ex-boyfriend survived, and she is here today. We'll meet her later in the show. Plus, we'll meet a woman who was held hostage, tortured, and raped for 6 hours, not by a stranger, but by her own boyfriend, after she tried to break off their relationship. Now, stories like these are Bridget's worst nightmare, because she worries her relationship with her boyfriend, James, could end badly.
I'm in an abusive relationship with my boyfriend, James. I've really never been so scared of anybody. I'm afraid that my boyfriend could kill me. He gets really angry and really mad. He blacks out completely, and the person that he becomes is somebody that I don't even know. James is very physically abusive. James has pushed me, choked me, shoved me, he shook me, and he's put holes in the wall. We got into a big argument, and he ended up punching the hole in the wall instead of hitting me. There was this one time when James totally freaked out. He grabbed a pillow and put it over my head and started hitting me. He was basically trying to smother me. He was just putting the pillow over my head so I wouldn't have a mark or a bruise or a cut. It really was bad. I was more scared at that moment than I'd ever been, period. There was an incident where we started arguing. He grabbed me around my throat and choked me and threw me to the floor. The cops have been to our house multiple times over arguments and fights. I have had 2 miscarriages since I've been with James. There was a time that I was trying to leave and he didn't want me to. He just grabbed me and threw me up against the car. A couple days later, I had started bleeding. I ended up miscarrying a few days after that. I'm afraid to stay with him, but I'm also scared to leave. It's possible that James could go as far as killing me. Dr. Phil is my last hope.
Well, James claims that Bridget knows he has a serious anger problem and says when she pushes his buttons, quote, Bridget knows what she's going to get.
I'm like a hot stove. You know that if you touch a hot stove, you're gonna get burned, so don't touch it. My fuse is pretty short. I can only take so much before I let it out. Bridget starts 99% of our fights. Bridget is the only woman that I've ever met that can make me mad enough to the point I put my hands on her. I do scare Bridget. I have gotten physical with her. I've grabbed her, I've pushed her, I've held her up against the wall, and I'm literally right in her face screaming at the top of my lungs. I've broken doors. I've thrown chairs across the room. I threw a vacuum into a TV. I feel like it could have been prevented. Bridget will be upset about something, and she can't just talk about it. She wants to be angry with me, but she knows where that's gonna lead. I'll snap when I feel I'm pushed that far. She knows how to manipulate me, my emotions, how to push my buttons. She intentionally brings that out of me. I get to a point where I pretty much step outside myself and I see what's going on. I just can't stop it. When I'm past my point of control, there's nothing I can do about it. I just don't know how far I might go.
Are you a physical abuser?
No.
You're not a physical abuser.
Yes.
Am I supposed to pick one?
I guess,
You said no, then yes.
In this relationship, it has become physical. But I don't consider myself a physical abuser, no.
You said she gets me so angry, I've been pushed to put my hands on her on several occasions. You said on Halloween of last year, he grabbed your arms and threw you to the ground. You said, I'm afraid he will get so mad he is going to kill me. True?
Yes.
You said that she was pushing your buttons, your jaw was clenched, you could feel the pulse of rage running through your body. Your brother-in-law tried to stop it, you fought him, and sister had to mace you. Did that happen?
That was after what happened between us, and they got themselves involved.
Have you tried to stop her from leaving and hold her and block the door?
I've stood in her way, yes. I've taken a battery out of her car, taken her keys multiple times.
Did you twist the keys out of her hand so much it made her hands bleed?
Yes.
Now, when you first met him, you knew that he had been in prison, right?
Yes.
Just because I've been to prison, does that make me a bad person?
No, I'm just asking, why'd you go to prison?
For aggravated battery.
You were convicted of attacking someone else?
Right, but the person will tell you that he dropped the charges. He tried to, and he provoked it. I didn't just pick a random person and attack them.
Your record says that you've been charged with 5 misdemeanors back in January of 10. You were convicted of battery, that you've been convicted of 2 felonies in August of 10, which is just 7 months after the first one, aggravated battery and robbery with no gun or deadly weapon. And then in March of 11, there were 3 more misdemeanors, assault, breach of the peace, disorderly conduct, culpable negligence with infliction of harm, and violation of felony probation. So you went to prison for 18 months?
Yes.
Okay, so did all of these people provoke you? Is there any of this where you just look back and said, man, I shouldn't have done that?
The battery charge was a misdemeanor because at first it was a felony. It was attempted murder because I beat him so bad. But it was self-defense because he attacked me with a baseball bat. Every one of those cases will say that I defended myself.
Yeah.
I am a violent person. I do get violent.
But do you want help with that?
Absolutely.
Because I want to help you with it, but you've got to own it. And now, according to her, you have thrown her on the bed, put a pillow over her face, and punched her in the head repeatedly to the point she thought she was going to die. Is that true or false?
It's not entirely true.
It's partially true.
Yeah.
Which part?
You make it sound so bad. I'm not saying that it's right, or I'm not trying to justify it, but I got mad. I threw her to the bed. I grabbed a pillow and I pushed it on her face, but I didn't try to smother her. I wasn't trying to suffocate her. It was over in half a second. And I didn't actually punch. I didn't take the pillow and then reach back and punch her. I pushed the pillow at her with force, yes.
Did it feel like half a second to you?
No.
Did you fear for your life?
Yeah.
Right now, everybody thinks that she's stupid for staying with me after they've heard all this other stuff. But the thing is, it's not all that bad. I just want the whole story to be told.
Okay, tell me the rest of the story, that she provokes you.
Ask me the questions
You said that.
the way that they're worded, and I'll fill in the blanks.
Listen, I don't need you telling me how to do an interview.
Tomorrow on Dr. Phil, their daughter needs an intervention.
She was arrested for heroin. Did you bail her out?
Yes.
But so do the parents.
You guys aren't ready. You're hiding stuff from your husband.
She's not hiding anything from me.
Well, she told us that she did, so she's either lying to us or she's lying to you.
America's most watched talk show.
I'm a heroin addict. I can say it. Are you an addict? No, I'm not. You are a liar, Mom. Say it.
That's tomorrow.
You know, abuse is more than physical.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel that I get abused too.
I have no doubt.
Thank you.
But do you call her slut, bitch, whore, and a bad mother?
And she calls me a dumbass and idiot too.
Yeah.
It's natural. For both of us, yeah.
Have you threatened to harm yourself if she leaves you?
I did not say, if you leave, I'm gonna kill myself. I've been under so much stress at some points, you know, right after some of our fights or just on my own, that yes, I've considered it. I've been suicidal, yes.
Did you take a knife and cut your stomach?
Yes.
Did
Put
you?
a cigarette out on my stomach too.
Why?
I did it on a tattoo of her name. I'm not this crazy stalker that you're making me out to seem like.
I'm just asking you questions.
Right. I just want the whole story to be told.
Okay, tell me the rest of the story, that she provokes you.
Ask me the
You
questions
said that.
the way that they're worded, and I'll fill in the blanks for
Listen,
you.
I know how to do an interview, and I don't need you telling me how to do an interview. I'm asking you, is there something that I don't know about what's happening here that will help me put together a plan to make your life better?
With me and Bridget's relationship, it's a power struggle.
You seem to be, as I'm talking to you here, just seething beneath the surface here because you don't like my questions.
No, I'm seething beneath the surface because right now we're focusing on the negative. A lot of people think I'm a pretty easygoing person. I have terrible coping skills.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. If you want to get mad and clench your jaw and stomp off or whatever it is you do when you get mad, then you can do that and wind up where you were. Or you can say, you know, this is a chance for me to man up and own this and figure out how to get those coping skills. Figure out how to change this. I want you to have spent your last day in prison. I want you to have spent your last day saying, I've been provoked by her, and so there's nothing that she can say or nothing that she can do that will ever justify you putting your hands on her in anger. Not you or any other man.
I know that.
But yet you do, because you don't have the skills to do something different. And if you had those skills, I think you would do something different.
In prison, you know, we beat up guys that we knew were doing that kind of stuff. I completely look down. I think it's disgusting, men that do that. And I never thought that I would be that guy. And then here I am.
Then let's not be that guy. Let me help you not be that guy.
But I think there's a well, it's not that I'm saying it's right what I've done, but I think there's a big difference between these guys that beat their wife to a bloody pulp, murdered them, stabbed them, all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm not that guy.
You cut your own stomach. You put a cigarette out on a tattoo of her name.
That doesn't make me a killer.
Come on. But no, yet.
She can tell you herself.
Tell me what?
That she provokes.
Okay, I'm gonna give her a chance to do that. Next, Bridget says she tries to shield her 6-year-old son from these tirades that goes on between the two of them, but just a few weeks ago, She says James told her little boy something very hurtful. And she says, I'm not sure I can ever forgive him for that. I'm going to add somebody to this conversation who is very passionate about this topic. She's also someone very dear to my heart. I'm talking about my wife, Robin. She's going to join us when we get back.
As a mother, you owe it to your son to put his needs first. You're all he's got in this world.
I first want to introduce my wife, Robin. I've asked her to join the show. We have had a program at the Dr. Phil Show going now into its 4th year called End the Silence on Domestic Violence. And Robin has been the outreach ambassador. Did you tell her son that your mother doesn't love you, doesn't care about you?
He had his first football game. We wake up that morning and she was getting ready for work. Her son comes out and he says, well, where are you going? Are you going to work? And I was upset, and walking out the door, I told him, I said, I'm going to be there, but she's not because she doesn't care.
So that's a yes?
Yes, that is a yes. I just wanted to make it clear how it happened.
What you want me to understand is there's more to some of these stories than you think is being told. What I want you to understand is there ain't enough story to justify some of the things that are going on, and I just want you to acknowledge that so it can go on your to-do list of things to change.
I know. I'm not trying to justify anything that I've said.
You've been sitting listening to this. What's your reaction to this?
Not only have you put yourself in a very, very dangerous situation, but you have also willingly put your son in danger. As a mother, you owe it to your son to put his needs first. He needs you to protect him, to keep him safe. You're all he's got in this world. You're the only one he can count on, and you seem to have forgotten that.
What do you say about that? And then James wants to respond. What do you say about what she's saying?
No, she's right, and I know that. And
then what are you doing?
That's why I'm here. I mean, I've been scared to leave many of times. There's been plenty of times that, you know, I honestly, and I can tell you, I didn't want to leave. And like you said, it seems like I've forgotten what's more important, and you're right.
I just want to make it clear, he doesn't get exposed to any of it, but he knows that adults argue. If we're in a heated battle, a heated conversation, and the door clicks, and we know that it's him coming in, the second he walks in, hey, son, what's going on, man? How are you doing? What do you need? Oh, not right now. Can you just give us a minute? Every single time.
You're saying little boys that are 6 years old know that adults argue, that parents argue. I think that's a shame. And I think that you think just because he enters the room that you stop arguing, he doesn't know and doesn't hear that the arguing that was going on outside the room. What he is experiencing right now because of all of this violence will affect him for the rest of his life.
Exactly.
In fact, boys who grow up with abuse are 4 times more likely to abuse in a dating relationship. They are 25 times more likely to commit rape as an adult. They are 6 times more likely to commit suicide. And they are 1,000 times more likely to commit violent acts against their own children.
It's your child. What do you think?
I mean, I see exactly what you're saying, and there's been times where I feel like I'm being very naive and very ignorant by saying that, he doesn't know what's going on, or he doesn't see what's going on, because not only the screaming or the yelling or the dent in the car, the tension, and I can feel that, and it scares me. I don't want that to be, his normal.
Why have you stayed in this situation?
A lot of the reason that I've stayed where I've been, and I've told James this before, has been because of the environment as far as living where we live.
Is that the only reason?
I have stayed because I love him. I have stayed because I care about him, and like she said, that's selfish, and I'm wrong for that.
But it's not just because she loves me. What else do I do?
You do a lot for Giovanni.
And what about you?
You do a lot for me. I didn't say that you didn't. But like they're saying, there's a lot of bad, and the bad is way worse than the good.
There is a lot of good, and yes, the bad is worse. And There's no way to justify it, no way to make it right. But at the end of the day, we all want to be a family.
There was something in your tape piece that jumped out at me. I want you to listen to this.
When I'm past my point of control, there's nothing I can do about it. I just don't know how far I might go.
That is very honest. And that's why I have hope for you, because you get it. You recognize there's a point you cross where you are out of control, correct?
Yes.
Did you hear what he just said?
Yes.
So the interesting thing is you don't have to wonder if it can get that bad. He's telling you there's a point I cross where I lose control and I don't know how far it will go.
And that's the first time I'm hearing that, but that doesn't justify it.
Maybe the first time you're hearing him say it, but you've lived it. People have judged you, they've punished you and imprisoned you, but I can't find anywhere that anybody has ever taken the time to try and help you. Now, I have, in all seriousness, a commitment to help you. I want to help you. I have made arrangements to help you in an intensive program that I believe can change your life because I know your history. People have judged you, they've charged you, they've punished you and imprisoned you. But I can't find anywhere that anybody has ever actually taken the time to try and help you. And I want to introduce you to somebody. See this guy right here? This is Miles Adcox. He is the owner and CEO of an organization called OnSite, which we've worked with before and have been so impressed with. It's located on a beautiful ranch just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. And they are considered the worldwide leader in therapeutic and personal growth. They have an intensive program to help you heal those wounds for once in your life. Miles, this is a plan that you guys have been working on for quite some time that is specifically designed for James, correct?
Correct. And James, I'm convinced that you need help, but in order to change your behavior, we got to change the way you think. And you've got to be 100% on board for that to happen. And if you show up and are willing to do that, we're willing to take you down that road.
You got a decision to make. If he doesn't do this, are you getting out of this relationship?
I'm gone completely if he doesn't get some kind of
Now, are you willing to use all of your resources to help her do that?
Yes, I have already gotten together, all of us here at the Dr. Phil Show and the National Domestic Violence Hotline. We put together a plan, and we can help you and your son get out of this situation, out of the abuse and out of the violence, and get you to a safe shelter, if you're willing to do that. It has to be your decision. We cannot make that decision for you, but if you're willing to do that, we can help you do that in a very safe way. Are you willing to do that?
Yes, if he doesn't get help, I'm 100% committed.
Whether you two ever see each other again or not, you have a lot of work to do just as he does. You have to get your self-esteem up off the floor. You have to get your self-worth up off the floor. You have to start answering the questions. Why was this okay with me? Why did I allow myself to be in this situation? And you have questions that you have to answer. You have wounds that you have to heal, and I'm making you an offer to do that. And I'm just asking you, do you want to do it or do you not?
I want to do it for myself first, because I need it. For my entire life, I've needed it.
You know something?
And if we stay together because of it, that's a win-win.
Let me tell you, this isn't something that you have needed your whole life. This is something that you have deserved your whole life.
Thank you.
Will you do it?
I will.
All right. Next, we're going to talk to two women who say leaving their abusive boyfriends left them both fighting for their lives after facing violence no human being should ever endure. We're going to meet them both when we come back.
My eyes were gouged, my teeth were knocked out, my face was ripped from the bone. John was whispering in my ear that he loved me and that I had to die.
A woman tries to get away from the father of her child.
You're seeing the final horrifying seconds as this woman fights for life just moments before she's set on fire.
Fighting for her life, a woman tries to get away from the father of her child minutes before he sets her on fire at a local convenience store.
It all began just a few moments earlier near a gas pump. Roosevelt Mendesor, police say he first pours gasoline into her car, then douses her. That's when we see her run inside for help. You're seeing the final horrifying seconds as this woman fights for her life just moments before she's set on fire. The woman is a running fireball, screaming in pain, screaming for help as she runs through the parking lot of this Boynton Beach 7-Eleven.
Amazingly, Naomi survived that vicious attack by her ex-boyfriend, who began threatening her life after she tried to break up with him. Now, Amanda can relate to Naomi's story because she, too, was brutally attacked by her ex-boyfriend.
When I got home and I put my key in the door, John barreled down the stairwell of my apartment building and shoved me into my home. He reached for a bottle and struck me upside the head, knocking me unconscious. That bottle broke, and he stabbed me in the chest and the neck. He attempted to cut my eyes out with the broken bottle. The first time I regained consciousness, he had taken my clothes and was on top of me. He was raping me, and he whispered how much he loved me. I couldn't move, I couldn't scream, I couldn't breathe. He had dragged me across the floor, pulling the hair out of my head in clumps, leaving bald spots and massive clumps of hair on my floor. I was in and out of consciousness several times. John was whispering the entire time in my ear that he loved me. I didn't understand how much he loved me and that I had to die. After he said that, he bit my ear off. By that time, every bone in my face had been broken. My ear was cut off. My eyes were gouged. My eyebrow was cut off. My teeth were knocked out. My face was ripped from the bone. He smeared the windows with my blood. He attempted to cut my breasts off.
She's injured? Oh, God, she's laying in blood. She's beat to death.
I have never seen before or since a beating that savage. Her face didn't even look human.
Doctors say Amanda lost between 12 and 15 units of blood. The body only holds 18 units.
For 6 hours, he beat, tortured, raped, and mutilated me with the intent of watching me die.
Well, I'm so glad to meet both of you. That's just absolutely unbelievable. When you watch that tape back, let me start with you, Amanda. What's your reaction to that?
I'm just glad to be alive.
When you were backstage listening to Bridget's story, did you hear any similarities in your story and her story?
As I was telling Naomi, it was like a mirror. It was like listening to my own story. It will get worse and worse because he cannot control himself.
And he has never done anything of the magnitude of what we're talking about here, right?
No.
That's never happened to you. And we're not suggesting that it has happened to you. We're not suggesting that it will happen to you. But what I am suggesting is you don't know that it won't. You know, there's a phenomenon called separation assault. And separation assault has to do with the fact that whenever you get away from your abuser, you make that break and get away, those ensuing days, those ensuing 2 or 3 weeks are the period during which more serious injuries and death occur than any other time during the abusive relationship. And that's exactly what's happened here. We're going to talk with Naomi after the break. It was 6 months ago when another woman left her abusive boyfriend right here on this stage with what we call a safe plan in place. She immediately went into hiding. We're going to get an update from her, so lots when we come back. Whether you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, I hope this show has been a wake-up call for you to take immediate but yet safe action. Because I talked about separation assault, which is that time period when you have separated from the abuser and they do something dramatic and tragic to try and control you. Naomi, that's what happened in this situation with you as well, right?
Yes, it is.
And then that night, he shows up. You see gasoline, right?
At first, I didn't see it. And like when he started chasing me and I felt the gasoline hit my face, all I knew that I needed to do was get away from him and keep myself from harm's way so that I could be there for my children.
What I said earlier is that whenever kids are exposed to this, they're at risk for having more problems than other children, problems with drugs and alcohol and problems in school. Are your boys following any of that pattern?
They are. My two older ones got in some trouble with the law. My youngest one is going through anger, sadness issues where at one point he even threw a chair at his pregnant teacher and slammed the boy's head on the floor.
She's telling you right now that her children have all suffered because of the abuse. You cannot deny it.
And even if you think that they don't hear, he hears. I mean, like when he's coming in that door, a lot of times he's probably worried for you. And at that point, he'll make a noise to let you know, I'm here at the door.
Well, okay. And you need to understand here, I have made a serious offer to James. He said, yes, I'll do it. He sat down in the front row next to Miles. He lasted about 2 minutes. And we started talking about violence down the road of what this can escalate to. He gets up, walks out of the studio, has gone upstairs, ripped his mic off, said, I'm done, I've had it, I'm through with this. So he's into his anger and rage right now as we speak. That's how volatile this situation is. That's how fragile this situation is. These women can tell you that you have to protect yourself and your child. Do you get that? Well, I appreciate both of y'all sharing your story. I want you to hear another story here. I want to add one more person to this conversation. It was 6 months ago that Julie sat on this stage with the courage. She sat in that chair in that spot and talked to her boyfriend and told him she was done. We'll talk about that and more when we come back.
When I get really mad, like this shit happening. Why don't I gotta do this?
You're protected every second up there. You're protected. So say exactly what you want to say to him.
You scare me. I'm your prisoner, and that's all I am.
She is a compulsive liar. That's why nobody likes her. She lies.
If that's true,
it is true.
Then why do you want anything to do with it?
Because I love her.
I am so scared of my boyfriend, Danny, that I allow him to severely abuse me on a daily basis. He'll come at me and he'll grab me by my head and he'll grind his teeth. You're so stupid.
When I get really mad, I just gotta keep happening. Like, this shit happening. Why don't I gotta do this? Why?
I don't feel safe when I'm with him. But at least I know that if I'm with him, he won't be hunting me down to kill me.
I'm Dr. Phil.
I'm scared.
Well, that's all right. Don't be. This is my wife, Robin.
I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you.
Is this man going to kill you?
Yes, he said he will.
You're protected every second up there. You're protected. So say exactly what you want to say to him.
Have you said to her, if you ever leave, I will find you and kill you?
I've made comments towards that, yes.
You understand, that's terrorizing someone.
To me, they're just words.
They're criminal words.
She is a compulsive liar. That's why nobody likes her.
I like her.
If you know the truth about her, that's not her right there. She lies. She lies.
If that's true...
It is true.
Then why do you want anything to do with it?
Because I love her.
She told us very, very clearly, I've stopped being a woman because exactly the way you're reacting right now. You've beat it out of her.
She was never a woman in the first place that I met her. Come on, will you? Really?
You scare me. I'm your prisoner, and that's all I am. I'm taking my life back from you. You don't deserve me.
Sure, she go back being the little lying horse slut she always was. I got no problem with it, because that's all you're gonna be.
It's a very mature response.
Yeah, goodbye. You're garbage.
Robin, how'd she do?
Oh, she just did a beautiful job. I teared up. I was just so proud of you. You were so strong. Wonderful.
I think you need to take every precaution to protect yourself going forward. So we have an advocate backstage right now that's ready to transition you into a safe women's shelter today so you can start your new life. Are you prepared to take this journey?
Can I leave right now?
Give us an update. What's happened since we saw you last?
I've had to make a lot of changes. A lot of changes. Danny went to jail.
Right.
Went through many changes as far as changing my social security number, changing my name. Danny still he's been released from jail. He still has not stopped trying to locate me. It's been rough. I'm not going to sit here and say everything is going great. It's been rough. It still is.
In looking back, was coming here and dealing with this the right thing to do?
Absolutely, 150% times a million. The best decision ever. When I came here to the set, I spoke to Robin, and I still remember her words to me. Don't falter. This is your time. Say what you need to say and do what you need to do. And I had asked you, please help me. And your words were, I'm going to help you help yourself. And I didn't know that that was what had to be done. So I thank you for everything that's given me.
One of the things that I always am careful about when we do a show like this is women can be at home in situations like this and they can get empowered and say, you know, Dr. Phil, you're right. Robin, you're right. I'm not taking this anymore. But there's a right way and a wrong way to leave.
Like he said, safety first. So always alert a trusted family member or a friend, a coworker that abuse is taking place. Have code words you can text if you're in trouble. If you're isolated, have danger signals. Pack a bag. Leave it at a trusted person's home. Have that include an extra set of keys, IDs, a car title, your birth certificate, social security card, anything that's important to you. Research resources available, shelters, hotlines, the police stations, and then know your abuser's schedule and know the safe times then that you can leave.
You are at risk. And we have a representative here from the National Domestic Violence Hotline. They're backstage. Their advocates don't show themselves on screen for safety purposes. Well, that's why we don't have her out here. And so I want you to sit down with her right after the show. Are you willing to do that? I have the people backstage.
Yes.
All right, we will make that arrangements. We want you to talk real quickly about the Stay Safe plan.
You should consider going to a shelter and secure your new home. You don't really want to ever give out any information as to where you're going, where you are. Stay off social networking sites. Obtain a protection order. It's very important. Change your patterns. Secure your accounts. Have a safety plan with your children. Don't isolate yourself. Never be alone. Document everything.
So the important thing is to get out safe, but then stay safe, okay?
Stay safe.
So that's for everybody at home, and hopefully you guys, you certainly know that. All right, I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Miles Adcox and On-Site for being a trusted source for anyone who is struggling with relationships, and for offering to help James. And I'm going to put a link to y'all's site on our site so people can know what we're talking about.
And of course, a very special thanks to the National Domestic Violence Hotline for stepping in and helping Bridget. And if you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship and needs help, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-7233.
If you want to join our campaign to end the silence on domestic violence, go to drphil.com for more information and to sign up to become a silence breaker. Thanks for being here. So long.